Let's go on a journey. We'll learn about legends and find spooky stories. We'll learn about legends like Bigfoot, hybrids like the Goatman, the Mothman. Who knows what we'll learn and find on this journey? All kinds of monsters. Who knows what we'll learn along the way? There's so many legends out there, so many to learn about. And we'll learn about legends that we probably didn't even know about together, and come upon stories that'll scare the pants off us. So let's go on this journey together. Hello, ghost nerds. Welcome back to Spooky Stories. This is our second spooky story of the season. So this one's gonna be they usually are about true stories. This one's gonna be close. Somebody I know. Did I blow that out? It's the table's like literally this far away from my mouth. I might have blown it out, but let's light it. I don't even know if it even helps. I might have to move this one. I don't know. But it's supposed to be spooky anyways. But anyways, I'm gonna change. I'm gonna give you who the story is about at the end of the story. I'm gonna change the name at the beginning, so you don't know who it is at first. And this story is events that happen a certain not how I explain it, within probably not constantly on days. The story's gonna be like it happens every night, and it really happened within a span at a time. But to make it into a story, I'm gonna pull the events and make it into dates. But this is really based on a true experience, and I'm just gonna tear it into a story, and when it is scary, and I had told this before, but I haven't really put them all together. Like I haven't really, when I was told this, I haven't really put them all together. And here it is. And the name, it was hard to figure out a name because I don't want to use none of y'all in the chat, none of y'all ghost nerds. Because I don't know how y'all would feel about that. And I rack in my mind, and I don't think, what was it? I think I settled on Caroline. Sorry if there is a Caroline, if I overlooked you. They might be a Caroline. We almost did 1,000. But Caroline's gonna be the name I'm gonna use. Okay. Let's begin. When I was 10 years old, if you would have told me when I moved into that house in the woods, that funny shaped house, because it was made of a house, a trailers, I believe. If you told me, it would have changed my perception on the world of the living and paranormal, I would have told you, what? No. I would not have believed you. because it was not my first house I lived in or apartment, because it was not the first time we had moved. We have moved a few times in our life because parents just new jobs, move closer to the jobs. That's all I'll say. And we was excited. We always was excited because new rooms. At at that age, you're innocent and excited for new things. So going into that house, it was awesome. It was big. It had a few rooms, and I was getting my own room. So I was excited about that because a few times I would have to share with my brother. So that was awesome. So at first it was normal and nothing happened until my first event happened. My first paranormal, I guess you could say, creepy moment happened when I was out in the woods by myself playing on the 4-wheel. And back then it was normal for kids to be out on their own playing on the 4-wheel. Nowadays it's not. But I was out there whipping around around the trees and the curbs, having a blast without worries, playing. I was actually playing that I was being chased by Jason, by whatever horror fiction I was on that day. And I wasn't really a fan of horror, but what else would you be being chased by in the woods? So I was just playing being chased, or as a girl singing to my voice content. And then all of a sudden I thought I heard my name being called. Caroline, Caroline. If that was the name I picked out, I don't remember. But we'll go with Caroline, Caroline. And I hit on the brakes. And I looked around in the woods. And I looked. I didn't see nobody. So I took off again. And I'm just driving. And I'm driving. Again, singing at the top of my lungs, I believe I was doing this time. And there again, Caroline, Caroline. And I stopped. And I went back. And I looked around. And that's when I decided I best be going. Because I don't know how long I've been out there. And I don't know how long that's been calling me. Maybe it was my mom. So I whipped around, went through the trails, went back up to the house, and I asked Mom, Mom, what is it? Was you calling me? She looked at me. No, I wasn't calling you. Why would I be calling you at this time? I was like, but I heard my name being called. And she's like, are you sure? Are you losing it? And I was like, no, I'm not losing it. I swear. Somebody was calling my name. She's like, come on, stop playing. Nobody was calling your names. You was in the woods by yourself. Why would somebody call your name? So I'm like, Okay, as a kid, you just forget about it. Okay, I went on with my day, eat, went to bed, and forgot about that. The next event was I'm laying in bed, and this bedroom. I was laying in a bedroom that would be my older brother's room because it was closer to the bathroom. And I don't know. Don't ask me why I chose this room to sleep in that night. I don't remember why. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't ask me why. And I was just laying in that room. He wasn't there. He just come visit because he's finishing school. So I was laying in bed. I was laying there. And all of a sudden, I was laying there and all of a sudden, I was just trying. The knob jiggling forcefully like somebody was trying to come into the room. And I looked over and it was the door to the kitchen. And the thing was, that door wasn't locked. That door wasn't locked. But it just kept on and on. I laid there staring at it, and then I just got back to my and jumped out of that bed and ran to the bathroom. And I'm like, oh my God. What am I gonna do? Why is it doing that? Freaking out. Why is this happening? Who could be on that side of the door? And it felt like hours, but it was just at least 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Finally, I came out of that bathroom and I looked, and the sound wasn't going on no more. The door wasn't jingling. So I crawled back into bed and went to sleep. Crazy, right? But 10 years old. What do? We're innocent and we just don't think of it. Of things. We just do crazy things. And then it took a while for me to go back to sleep. But I did. I went back to sleep. I believe I went back to sleep because right before dawn, I'm laying there. I'm laying in that bed. And I hear a click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. And I'm like, what is that now? What is that? And I'm like, please stop. Please stop. Please stop. And it goes click, clack. I looked over. I knew what that sound was. I knew what it was. I knew what it was. It was the dresser. The dresser didn't have a knob on it. It had little knobs on it that goes move up and down. And whatever it was flicking it up and down. It was going, for some reason, it was flicking it up and down. And it kept going click, clack, click, clack. And I glanced over at the clock. It was 5. It was almost done, but it was like, I believe it was like 5:15 to 6. And I just stared at the clock. begging him for it to be 6 because that's when hopefully I would get the sun to be all the way up. And hopefully it would stop. And that's when everybody would get up too. And it kept going. Click, clock, click, clock. And all I could do, what we all do when we're kids, pull them covers over our heads. Close our eyes really tight. Hopefully, begging that it stops. Listen to that and the clock ticking, begging the clock to click faster instead of that clickety clock. And finally it stopped. And it stopped for like 5 minutes. And it stopped altogether. And finally, I brought my head from under the covers. And then I felt like it was safe to get up. And the rest of the day was normal. I went on with my day. I didn't tell nobody because I don't know why I didn't tell nobody. As a kid, I guess you didn't think nobody would believe you because nobody believed you that when you told them that there was monsters on your bed, or when you were scared of horror movie things. Because I remember telling my mom once that the bed was shaking once, and she told me to go back to bed, and come to find out it was a logical explanation. It was the washing machine was so strong in that trailer. It wasn't in that house, it was in another place we lived. In that trailer, that it was shaking my bed. Was it the dry? It was the wash machine or the dryer. But anyways, I could feel the vibration, and it scared me more because I walked in on them watching a scary movie that night. And I guess you learn not to tell nobody what you see when you see it until you find the people. You learn. But anyways, I go on normal with my day and it was fine. And then the next night, it was normal. Nothing bad, nothing happened in the house. And then people joked about, oh, there's a ghost in that house. Ghost in the house. And I'm thinking, that makes sense. But do I believe in ghosts? But then what's been happening with me? And then a few nights later, I was sleeping in my own room, and I don't know what happened. They said it was sleepwalking, but I woke up trying to get out of the room, banging on a door that was locked. It was the wrong door, and I couldn't get out. I don't remember that night why I got up. Was I so terrified of what was going on that I just blocked it out and jumped out of my bed and was trying to get out of the room, and they just said I was sleepwalking because I couldn't remember. And then that night, the next few days went on normal and normal. I didn't know what was going on. I just thought the house was weird. I was going to school, coming home. Didn't tell nobody at school. I didn't want people to think I was crazy. But then I was just doing normal things at home too. Playing. Same old thing. Riding the 4-wheel if I could. Doing my homework. Normal kid things. And then I think the last thing I remembered in that house that really happened, that I actually remember my story, because there's other stories that happened in the house that wasn't mine, from my point of view, that I'm not going to say. But I was laying in my room, in my bed, and I was sleeping. And for some reason, I was laying there and I opened my eye from my doorway. For some reason, I have felt to open my eye and coming down the 2 steps, because like I said, this house was weird. It was a small house, a trailer, maybe another trailer, I don't know. But going in my room, you go down 2 stairs, and this huge, tall, black figure came down the stairs, and I was covered up to my neck, and I just watched it. And for some reason, I could see it. I don't know if there was a night light, if there was a light, but something made me see it. And I just watched it walk across my floor. I just stared at it. And then it did something. It didn't come to me, which it did something else. It walked up 2 steps to another room, which the door was open, because I always left it open so I could just keep an eye, because that was the middle room, the room in the middle of this weird house. No windows, no nothing. It was a nursery to my little brother's room, baby brother's room, because he was doing a crib. But it walked up into there and all the way to the crib and stared down at the him. And I was so terrified. But then I did something. I don't know. To this day, I'm ashamed, but I'm ashamed for what I did next. But I was 10 years old. I could have did nothing. I don't know what I would have did. I could have faced it. But I slowly put my leg out of the bed, out of the covers, out of the bed, and I took off running. Up my steps, out my door, up some other steps, into the kitchen, into the other bedroom, and into the bathroom. Breathing, scared to death. Oh my God, what am I doing? I should not have did that, but oh my God, what am I gonna do? Oh my God. And in my mind, I didn't think about getting help. What would they do? Would they believe me? They wouldn't believe me. Oh my God. And it was scary. I don't know how long I stayed in that bathroom. Just scared to death. Probably 10 minutes or so. Just scared out of my mind. That was the scary. I think that was. I don't know. That was scarier than the doorknob. I slowly made my way back into my room, turning the lights on one by one from the kitchen, from the dining room, because you have to go through the dining room to the kitchen. I didn't say that because I just went right through it. To my room, up the steps to the baby's room, turn that light on. Nothing there. I was so slow. I looked over, I looked at him, touched him, making sure he was okay. He was fine. He was sleeping like an angel. Nothing was wrong with him. I just stared there like tears in my eyes because I was so scared. Like, what? What was that? It was scary as hell. I didn't know what to do. So he was fine. I turned the light off, didn't see nothing. So I went back around, turning all the lights off in my room, and then what I did, I went back to sleep. So to this day, I feel like crap. I feel like a awful person for just ditching him like that. He was a baby. He couldn't defend himself. But I had him like, I was 10. What could I did? I didn't know what I knew now. And that was, I think, after that we finally moved because there was other problems with that house. So that's the end of the story. And like I said, it was based on true events. And to this day, I think about the end. You want to know? It was my story, y'all. It changed my outlet it was my first paranormal experience. It changed my outlet on my outlet on everything. It was my first, it was the first, it was my whole, it's, how do I explain it? If I think about it, it's like, why I wanted to do this in the first place. It's like, because it made me believe. Because usually, if you don't actually, usually most people need to experience to believe. It was my first foot in the door of the paranormal, and after that, I always was curious about it. Once I got a little bit older and I understood what was going on, and I started doing research. But yeah, and it's true, I do feel bad about leaving my baby brother to the fate of that shadow. I don't know, it could have been a nice dark shadow, but still, who knows. But yeah, that's the end of my story, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Until next time.
You're watching Myers Paranormal.